5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Liftoff, and the clock has started.
What's up, F3 Knoxville, and welcome to the F3 Knoxville podcast. This is your comms Q, Steam, coming to you live from the F3 Knoxville podcast studios. We have a great show, and we're so glad you're here. We're covering all the news, all the updates, all the challenges, all of the awesome things our PAX are doing in and around F3 Knoxville. We hope you're challenged and encouraged by today's show as we live out Iron Sharpens Iron together as F3 Knoxville. Welcome, and let's dive on in. What is up, Blindside and OnStar? Welcome to the weekly launch points. It is good to be back with you guys this week. How you doing?
Good to be here. Good to be anywhere there, Steam.
Yep, same here. Another week, another opportunity to push yourself. So let's go.
That's right. There's a guy named Cheat Sheet who we used to see a lot in F3 Knoxville, and every time I say, "Hey man, good to see you," his response would be, "Good to be seen, brother." I was like, "Oh, that's a good perspective." Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been spending quite a few. I've spent a couple football games with old Cheat Sheet the last couple weeks.
That's right. He's like a paid celebrity for Beard and Bulldogs, right?
Very, very much so. Got him a ticket to the Beard and Alcoa game last Friday night, and no one has been more appreciative than that man over the last couple days texting me about it. So love that guy. Happy to help him out, get him into that game. And I think it was pretty decent ticket to come by, but he was there and at the first game at West. He was the beard and celebrity, that's for sure.
So you know the sayings like live, laugh, love, like all that stuff. Cheat Sheet's coming out with his own, actually. I would put that in my house. You know how people put those like Southern sayings.
Oh yeah.
Dogs don't bark at parked cars. I would put that in my living room.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
That's some great sayings. If you've never heard a Cheat Sheet motivational quote, you are missing out.
That's for sure.
Speaking of missing out, what a segue to jump into a new week. We're happy you're here. Man, we got a great show for you today. We have some good content from T-Claps to key dates to spoiler alert, the infamous or famous, depending on how you look at it, the IronPAX. We are going to talk about it. It's going to be great.
Infamous.
It's going to be great. We're going to dive into all that, and then obviously some Q-Source content, and we're going to talk leadership and invigorating leadership this week. So with that getting started, we got some cool T-Claps coming your way, and I'll run through these for us. We have three of them, but three really good ones this week. So T-Claps to Asylum AM, our flagship AO. A guy named Cinco. So he's pretty new to F3, and he's already queued 3 times and brought four, I think is the last count, FNGs. I don't know about y'all, but when I first joined F3, I did not queue very soon, and I probably did not bring FNGs that soon either. So this guy's just drinking the Kool-Aid, all in, like punched his ticket for F3, and has been just killing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it took me probably 2 months to queue, and then I think I've brought out a total of 1 FNG in 3+ years. So, or 2+ years, like, dang. Most of the people, I mean, you guys know I was Steam definitely, I was on fire from the get-go, but
yes,
I think mine was to the point where it was detrimental for bringing guys out.
It's like questioning their friendship after the workout. It's like, were we that close of friends?
Yeah,
well,
what are you doing?
At least, I got to say, I'm about to get to the first year mark, and like you, Blindside, I was down from the get-go, and I still haven't managed to bring any new guys, any FNGs. So definitely claps to Cinco for doing that, for doing the bringing guys in. We're all about invigorating male leadership, and planting seeds. So good job on that.
Yeah, Cinco, man. Good stuff, bro.
We have
T-Clap.
a Cinco and an Ocho now. I just put
We
that.
do.
So
Dude, we do.
we need to fill out the rest of these single digits.
Yeah, and Spanish, right? So
That should be a goal for this year. We should have just a slew of F and G's that get named.
do we have a Uno already?
Uno
to
would
get
seem
started?
like would be one that could be close.
Yeah, that's true.
There is not one in Slack, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just checked too. I was like, do we have an Uno? Huh.
You heard it here first. If you're a new guy thinking about coming to F3 Knoxville, you will probably get a name that correlates to a Spanish number.
Yep.
That'd be great. Man, T-Claps to the guy named Z-Pack. So Z-Pack works out at the Quacken AO. And he was on cue for OTB Ruck on Friday, and no one showed up. They ghosted him, or slept in, or fartsacked. But this guy Z-Pack showed up and did the Ruck, and then instead of heading to Duncan for a single cafeteria, Z-Pack goes, actually, I'm probably just going to do half of the Murph workout.
As one
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally, that's what one does.
As one does, right? And so he did a half of a Murph workout by himself after a ruck, and this is like Hall of Fame status for me. So showed up by himself, does the ruck, does a half of a Murph. Who is this guy? Someone get him a free F3 t-shirt.
I agree, because I've done a workout by myself before, but it definitely wasn't half a Murph. I just did the regular workout I had planned, and I was like, all right, that's freezing, nobody came, okay, fine. But the dude goes and pulls half a Murph.
I've seen a couple guys do a solo workout as well, when no one shows up. Heck, one time I had two people show up and I convinced them to go to Waffle House instead. That's impressive. Very much impressive.
I don't think even outside of F3, I've never just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do half of a Murph today, which I guess would be half a mile run, 150 squats, 100 push-ups, and 50 pull-ups.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And then another half
Sounds
mile.
about right.
Half
Yep.
mile run. Man, this guy. T-Claps, bro. That's awesome. T-Claps
Yep.
is easy. So if you're planning, or we're planning to go ruck on Friday at the Quack, and just be there this Friday, you should go. T-Claps to F3 Knox's new Weasel Shaker, Pele, and T-Claps to our very own Blindside, the man, the myth, the legend, for performing this role for the last 8 months. So Blindside, you're ushering in a new class, a new him named Pele for the Weasel Shaker. What are your thoughts, like as you kind of give this role away and Pele steps in?
Well, Weasel Shaker is one of those SLT positions that, one, it's the coolest name. Everyone knows this. It is fact. Two, it is the least understood position. And I will absolutely say, Steam, I believe you were Weasel Shaker right before me, right?
The jury's still out. I think the title was somewhere.
So I spent the last 8 months trying to figure it out. And, you can only Google it with safe search on so much. But ironically, and this is crazy. So you guys out there in podcast land know that I love me some podcasts, and I love me F3 podcasts. And the him podcast that came out this week was the Nation's Weasel Shaker, Spur out of San Antonio. And I was listening to it today, and he was kind of talking about his role as the Nation's Weasel Shaker, and kind of really explained it as that the Nantan or the leader has a vision for the group, and then the Weasel Shaker kind of executes that vision. And so in the short time that I was Weasel Shaker under kickflip as Nantan, I feel like I did a pretty decent job with that, and I know that Pele is going to do an even better job of that. And so with my new Mammon position and kind of the ruck fire that I have right now, I think this is the best opportunity, the best decision for me to step back as Weasel Shaker and be the ruck Q. And honestly, I had no idea who the new Weasel Shaker was going to be. But when Kickflip announced Pele, I was like, well, duh.
Yeah.
So congrats to him, and don't come asking me what Weasel Shaker does because I don't know. So.
You know, when we were discussing with the SLT possible names for the Weasel Shaker, Pele never occurred to me, and now that Kickflip announced it, I was like, how did it not occur to me?
Kind of
How
mad at
did that slip by? Yeah, exactly. Because it's like he's perfect for it. I was like, how in the world did that not come up? So well deserved. Well deserved.
That's right. I found an article from F3 Northwest Arkansas, I think, and they actually put this really well. They have a great article on SLT roles, and the way they define the Weasel Shaker is the man who shakes the men who are trying to weasel out of their commitments and what they know needs to be done. I mean, yep, bingo. Keeps his ear to the ground and his finger on the pulse of the PAX with the Nantan. He is a best practice investigator, implementation specialist, rule embracing, spreadsheet loving, detail oriented sort that helps the region accelerate into the next 43 feet. So, number one, blindside, like, ding, ding, ding. That's you. Yeah. Number two, like you said, OnStar, Pele checks all those boxes and then some, and then some. I mean, I've not worked out with this guy for years at the PM, and he is to the T, like the Weasel Shaker. He's awesome. He has a great heart for the PAX, and we're talking about doing a Q101 at the PM sometime next month, and he's led a lot of Q101s over the years, and is a perfect person for this role. So, dude, we're excited for you that you get to lead and serve in this way, and excited we get to support you in this way. So, welcome to the SLT.
Absolutely.
So T-Claps, yeah, man. Hey, also, if you know of T-Claps that you want us to shout out on the podcast, shoot us a message. Shoot either one of us, or any one of us, I should say, a Slack message. Let us know. We'd love to share some of the cool stuff that's going on, and celebrate some of the cool things y'all are doing out in F3 Knoxville.
Yeah, exactly. You can always reach out to us or to Kickflip so he can shout it out on the newsletter. We are all about recognizing people when they do well, when they're helping their fellow men. So let us know. We want to tell you about more cool stuff, share more cool stuff here.
That's right. That's right. Well, going into some key dates, and we have, I don't know if you know this, we have the first FQ, literally the first, with us on the podcast, OnStar. And we introduced this a little bit, but we're going to talk about something called the IPC, otherwise known as the IronPAX. And one of two things probably just happened when you heard IronPAX. You probably shriveled up a little bit, maybe got a little bit mad inside, and that's okay. Or maybe your muscles just got a little bit bigger because you were just so excited to get out there and just crush the IronPAX.
Or
maybe you're one of those two. Well, that's true. That's true. That's true. So let's introduce some key dates, starting with the IPC. We're in week numero 0. OnStar, what's your take on this first?
That is correct. And my first comment about this workout is there's too many burpees, and that's a problem.
What is for those of those out there that don't know what IPC is? So we'll get into this week's workout because
all right,
I did reference it earlier before we started recording, as it's not hard, but no, it's hard. So tell those people out there what the heck is this dumb thing we do every September called IronPAX Challenge.
All right, dumb thing is a good definition. It started as something created by F3 Greenwood. Basically at a discussion at a cafeteria, discussing who could run faster, who could do more pull-ups, and so on. And it became a competition to see who was the best packs in the region. And for some reason, because we're all dumb and competitive, this spread out to F3 Nation. And now we all do it. So it's basically a weekly CSOP, completely stupid and utterly pointless for those of you who are not in the know. And basically it's a series of incredibly hard workouts week after week, starting in September, or actually in this case, the last week of August.
So this will be my third IPC. First year, 2021. I don't remember a week 0. There had to have been a week 0, but I don't remember it. And so I had been doing F3, I guess, for 6 months. There were a couple guys that had joined Equalizer at that time, Trunk, School Zone, couple of those guys that that was, I say, 2 years ago. This time is when my fitness was at its peak. I am not there anymore, but we were really kind of on fire for that IronPAX. So to where Trunk and I think 2 or 3 weeks, at least 2 weeks out of it, we went to other AOs because the Equalizer guys didn't want to do it, and we completed them. Last year, I was nowhere near the same fitness level and was mad at myself about it, and so I became mad at IPC about it, right? And so I think I did, they had the week 0, the 4 weeks in September, and then last year, since it was their fifth year, they had a bonus week that everybody saw that secret coming, and I think I completed 2 weeks out of the possible 6. And that was me kind of griping and complaining and taking every little piece.
Well, apparently blindside freezing is going to become a tradition on this podcast now.
Yeah, I think he's frozen again. Hey, at least back to back, like Drake.
Back to back. There's a tradition in a Brazilian sports TV show that soccer players who score 3 goals get to ask for a song that's going to be played during the show. If I say we do that next week, if Blindside gets frozen again,
dude. Yeah. Okay. So if he freezes next week, we're gonna stop the show. We're gonna play a song.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be it. We're just gonna do it. Okay.
Oh, I think he's coming back.
Maybe.
Or not.
Part of the fun of the technical difficulties. Maybe. I think maybe. Oh.
And he's joined us from a different device, I think.
You start saying something profound, and then the internet goes out. 2 weeks in a row, fellas.
2 weeks in a row. It's becoming a tradition.
The tradition, yeah. OnStar. I'm not sure if you heard. OnStar has it's a Brazilian custom or tradition.
Yeah, there's a famous TV show in Brazil where when they do their sports segment, any soccer player who scored 3 goals in a single match did a hat trick gets to pick a song that will be played during the show. I say that if you freeze next week during the recording, you get to pick a song, and we're going to play it in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like it's crazy. I don't know where I cut off, but basically,
we're not going to edit it out. This is real. Okay, yeah, it's great. It's great.
Basically, I took everybody else's excuses, and because of my lack of fitness, and made them my own, and made me think that I hated IPC, and used that insecurity that I had to say, we're never going to do this again because someone's going to get injured, or it always takes more than 45 minutes, or it's a competition and this is not what F3 is about. But all those things, which are true-ish, are really don't have to ruin the fun of doing something silly, which we've all done. We all can modify. We all can go without hurting ourselves. We all know our body's limits. But for me, last year wasn't as fun because my fitness wasn't there. And so this year, I know the Equalizer, we are doing it on Wednesdays, the regular one plus the modified version, which I know that last year was kind of the first year they started actually promoting the modified version. And I think that it's less reps, less distance, couple different exercises. So like myself, I'm going to try to do the regular one. But I'm not going to do the kettlebell swings. I'm going to do rows instead. And that's just because of my back. And I know that that I can't handle that. So I really am going to, the next couple weeks, try to promote kind of the good side of it and not be a curmudgeon like I was last year.
See, it turned
That's
itself
awesome.
around. There you go. We love
Yeah.
a good redemption story, you know?
Yep, that's the blindside redemption arc, or the IronPAX redemption arc, depending on how you frame
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But it's
So
awesome.
for me, I have never done a full IronPAX like series. Like I've done some of the workouts. I've even integrated the Murder Bunny exercises into some normal workouts over the past couple years. Big fan of those things when they're done right.
Oh, so that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, does it ever? But I've never done like the full IronPAX, and you know, like to the guys that created this and guys that love IronPAX, like, hey, I'm not against you. Like, hey, you go do your thing. I'm not like a huge fan of IronPAX, but I'm not against it. That's the beauty of F3. Like we say, you're here on your own volition, you modify as you need. Like Blindside said, it's just not been something I've just been super gung ho about, and I think that's okay. But one thing that Pele actually brought up in one of our AO channels this week when I was putting it out there to see if we were going to do the workouts and offer them throughout the week, he brought up a really good point of this specific AO only meets 2 days a week. And over the past year, we have been, I guess, actually, since 2023, we've been doing our own version, if you will, of IPC called the metric workouts, U versus U workouts, which is very much what IronPAX is. It's a U versus U, like you're your own competition. And so we've been doing that with F3 Knoxville over the past months. And for me, that's been the level of competition within our own region that's like, man, I can definitely buy into that. Like, totally makes sense.
And the Asylum PM has definitely been an AO that's been really consistent in doing those. I know that people haven't, but
yeah, I mean, it's been really great. I mean, it's built up a lot of fellowship with our guys, and so I think IronPAX does the same thing. It's just not really been something that I've been crazy adamant about over the years. I think it's a good thing to the degree that it's a healthy competition, just like F3 is, right? Like you're not getting out there to try and beat the guy beside you and let him know you can do one more rep. Like, you come to F3 because you want to get better, and a byproduct is you're getting better together in community. So I think that's what IronPAX does. It's a fun way. It's OnStar, I think you said a weekly CSOP. I love that. You know, there are times when F3 feels like a weekly CSOP. It's like, man, do I really want to go run around in the rain and do burpees this week at F3? It's like, heck yeah, I do, man. Because I know Blindside and OnStar are going to be out there. So there's a great podcast from F3 Nation, actually podcast episode that came out about the IronPAX from some of the guys that I think created it. And I listened to it last week. It is a great take on it. They break it down. If you are on the fence on IronPAX, or maybe you are on Team IronPAX or Team Anti-IronPAX, go listen to it. It really kind of changed some of my thoughts about it too. But we are going to be offering it in F3 Knoxville at different AOs throughout the week. So if you want to do the IronPAX, there are going to be places you can do that throughout the week. And if you don't, hey man, it's cool. You know, you're doing F3, and that's totally cool. So that's the beauty of F3. So yeah, I think it's a really good thing, and I know we have some thoughts across the board as a region on IronPAX, but like we say before every workout, you're here on your own volition. So you get to choose your own adventure, per se, with F3.
I haven't had the opportunity to do them yet. I joined F3 last year right in the middle of IronPAX, and it felt too extreme for someone who was just joining. I'm very curious to try it this year, so I probably will try to do all the weeks. But like you said, the beauty is where we have a schedule. The AOs that are going to do it at consistent days every week. So hey, if you want to do it and your AO isn't offering it, or maybe the day your AO is going to do it isn't good for you, we already have 3 different days. We have Quakin, Shamrock, and Equalizer doing it on Wednesday. We have Brickyard doing it on Thursday. Juco and Asylum AM doing it on Friday. The project is going to start doing it on Thursdays as well, but they're not going to do week 0. So if you're a project guy and you want to do week 0, pick one of the other AOs for now, go do it. And hey, let's do this. And if you don't want to do it, hey, just fine. Pick another workout, go to it. That's the beauty. We're going to have the option for everybody. That's what we're trying to do. If you love it, great, go do it. If you hate it, great, go skip it. And if you've never tried like me, hey, maybe give it a shot.
And like I mentioned earlier, that they're really promoting the modified version now too. So like at the Equalizer, we'll have both. So we'll have like this week's, it's a warm up and then a 800 meter run and then a consecutive exercises of 85 reps and then an 800 meter run to end. Whereas the modified version is 400 meter run and I think 42 reps and different exercises like the kettlebells or the rows instead of the kettlebells. So if you're super interested and not real sure, definitely try coming out to Equalizer on Wednesday. We will be doing both.
And OnStar, the list of where, I guess, what AOs are doing it is on Slack, right?
Yes,
It's
correct.
If guys want to find that, they can go on Slack. And
I've posted it both on the main channel and on the IronPAX channel itself.
Maybe it hits social media too.
Oh,
that's a good idea. Post it on F3 socials. So guys, if they want to check it out, next week I'll be updating it with the project on Thursday. If any other AOs tell me that they're going to do it, I'm going to be updating it as well. So for now, we have 6 AOs offering it, 3 different days. So take your pick and go for it.
Let's go. It's awesome. Good stuff. Well, we have one more thing that you've heard us talk about a lot. And guess what? We're still going to talk about it. Because coming up in about 3 weeks, September 22nd through 24th, is Forge, our regional retreat created for F3 men, by F3 men. We actually, as of tonight, have only 4 spots left. So we're sitting at 16 guys that have HC'd to this. We have a capacity of 20. And you've probably heard us talk a lot about this, but what it is it is a 40-hour weekend retreat we are taking as F3 Knoxville, but there's other regions that will be there too, which is pretty cool. And it's going to be set around the idea of encouraging and challenging men, F3 men, to step further into the men God has called us to be as high impact men. So we're going to spend Friday through Sunday up in Doe River Gorge in Hampton, Tennessee together. And OnStar is going to be there. I'm going to be there. And we're going to have some times of conversation, engagement. You'll have first F sessions, second F sessions, and third F sessions. You'll hear from guys around our region as they talk about their experience with manhood and what that has looked like over their life. Man, it's only $110, and that covers all your meals for the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, totally covered. All your lodging. We have a beautiful cabin on the river up in the mountains, and retreat materials that we're putting together for you as well. There's actually been guys that have said, hey, I can't go to Forge this year. Sounds awesome, but I can't go. I'd love to pay it forward if someone wants to go. I'd love to make sure that happens. So do not let the $110 be an obstacle for you. There are guys that have been willing to say, hey, I'd love to send someone to Forge. So, man, we're excited. We're 3 weeks out. And
so say, what are those dates again?
It is September 22nd through 24th. That is a Friday through Sunday. In case you're wondering, yes, the University of Tennessee Volunteers are playing that Saturday. They're not playing a great team, so there's a high likelihood we will have it on somewhere during the weekend. But hopefully you can get the hall pass and HC for those last 4 spots we have. OnStar, any thoughts? Or Blindside, any thoughts?
I mean, it's definitely something that sounds awesome. And, the more y'all talk about it, the more I wish I could make it out, with I got the 5 little ones plus a wedding and a trip to Florida and a million other things I have this fall. It's like, I just couldn't shake it. Ran out of punches in the hall pass, but it sounds like something that's pretty awesome.
Well, that's okay, because hopefully this will not be This will be the first, but not the last edition. So this is something that we plan to run year after year, if possible. And I'm sure we can aim for to have you next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. Hey, you will like this though, which spoiler alert for all of you that are going, have not heard this. There's going to be a night ruck up through Mountain Pass. It's going to be awesome. So
that does sound cool.
It's going to be cool, man. It's going to be cool. But yeah, those are the events we have coming up. I'm excited for all the cool things we have. We're we're in the back half of 2023, and there's a lot of cool things that we have coming down the pike as we enter into the back half of the year. So, OnStar, do you want to talk about, speaking of the last half of the year, it's that perfect season where it's not going to melt your face off if you go hiking, but it's not going to freeze your toes off either. Kind of a happy medium. What do we have coming up in terms of hiking with one of our own guys in F3 Knoxville that's leading the charge?
Yep, we have one of our very own guys, Postman, who has reached out to us with a great initiative called Guys Who Hike, trying to raise awareness about men's mental health. And the basic idea is to have a hiking challenge for the month of September and hike at least a mile a day for 30 days. And ideally, you should try to have these hikes with other dudes. So basically a shield lock.
Yeah.
Go out there, get in nature. If you can't get in nature, for the love of God, go outside. Just Tennessee has a lot of nature everywhere. You can find some trees, you can find some greenway. Go walk around for a mile with someone, share a conversation. And hey, if you can't get someone to go with you, call a friend. Put in your Bluetooth headphones, go walk somewhere, call a friend. But he has posted this. He has the website for it. You can sign up. We're going to add it to the show notes. And we're going to be making this the official first half challenge for September. So hiking a mile a day, preferably with someone else if you can. We're trying to have Postman here maybe to talk to us a little bit about that, tell us more about that initiative, but that's the gist of it. And hey, like you said, this is the perfect time of year for it. You're not the heat that would melt your face off is starting to come down.
Correct.
Towards the end of the month, we might start seeing some golden brown on the trees.
Yes.
Knoxville's going to start looking even more gorgeous. So hey, go enjoy that.
Hey, question on this too. So hiking a mile a day, does that count as like a ruck or a walk, or like when you say hike, my mind goes immediately to mountains, but that's not always the case because you mentioned there's a lot of greenways, a lot of adventurous outdoor areas in Knoxville. So can it be just, hey, you're going on a walk with a buddy through a trail, or what do you think?
From what I talked to Postman, that's exactly the idea. He wanted it to be something very accessible. So hike or walk a mile a day in September at your own pace, anywhere. Pick a trail. If you can go to the mountains, go to the mountains. If you can go into the woods, go into the woods. If you want to go over a mile, go over a mile. But the basic is walk a mile every day in at least one of those hikes, but preferably more. Bring someone along, talk to someone, shield lock with some other guy. Maybe you need some support. Maybe you know someone who needs some support. So this is a good time for it to keep awareness of that. He posted on his website, guyswhohike.com. This is mind blowing, but we lose 60 men to suicide each hour. So a man a minute across the world. So this is a good time to stop and think about that. So
it's powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this, and Postman is a great guy. He's an author, he's a writer, he is an entrepreneur, and has an awesome heart for men like this. So So yeah, some very, very cool things happening, which I think we're going to put some more info out about this in September, which will be good. So awesome. Well, hey, to kind of round out the show today, we're going to talk about this week's Q-Source content as we work on invigorating leadership within F3 Knoxville. And I'll introduce this week's topic and just some high points, and then we'll get some hot takes from all of us here, and hopefully it'll be some good things to think about. So from the Q source, Q point 3.6, this week we are talking about the initiation of first movement. The initiation of first movement. 3 big questions we're going to ask ourselves. You should also ask yourself this week is, can you lie and bully a man into doing what's good for him? What is the biggest obstacle to movement? And must a man agree before he moves? So three of the big points or big takeaways from the initiation of first movement from the Q source is compulsive chicanery cannot sustain momentum. I actually had to look that word up, chicanery. I don't know if y'all knew what that meant, but like I did not. So I was like, oh, interesting.
I have no idea what you're talking
about. What is this word? Okay, so chicanery is the use of trickery to achieve a political, financial, or legal purpose. So compulsive chicanery cannot sustain momentum. So I had to look that up. I thought that was interesting.
Basically, lying through your teeth to get someone to do something will not work. At least not in the long run.
That's true. That's
the idea.
To be honest, I don't know what this second one is. It says these are not my words. Manana is a crack pipe. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. So if anyone listening to this podcast knows how to pronounce the second point, please come talk to me. Here's the point with that real quick. As we have said, all men visualize and any man can articulate if he's willing to try, although few do. Even fewer men persuade, although this is also a leadership skill that anybody can learn with persistence. So why don't you just read that, listeners? You should just go read that section and extract what you will. We're going to talk about it in a second. And then number 3, incremental movements build agreement. Incremental movements build agreement. So we'll just do a little roundtable and kind of talk about this idea of the initiation of first movement on Star.
Well, first of all, I can solve that puzzle for you. Mañana is Spanish for tomorrow. So basically the idea behind that is that saying, oh, tomorrow I'll start it is as bad as a drug habit for you, because tomorrow will always be there. And
I was thinking that it just couldn't be that simple.
Yeah, but that's really that. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to read it. I was like, what is this saying?
Don't procrastinate, and don't let your fellow man procrastinate. That's the idea.
There we go. Bingo. Awesome.
But
so Onstar, what do you think?
Well, I love the first point about the not being able to sustain momentum with lies or chicanery, because well, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson and his 12 rules for life, and his rule number 8: tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Lying is trying to bend reality to our will, like by devious means. In reality, always finds a way of snapping back at us. It's like pulling on a rubber band. It's gonna come back at you at some point. So lying is not an effective way to persuade people. You persuade people by example, by articulation, by inspiration, but never through pushing people to do something that, even if it's good for them, it can't last. That's built on pillars of sand.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to we were talking about articulation last week, I think, and
Exactly.
I think that you have to have these kind of connected where you can't fake your articulation, just like you can't fake trying to move somebody, or at least it can't be permanent, or it can't be meaningful, and it can't be lasting. And so, you can't really, have that foundation built on sand, like OnStar said. You have to have a strong foundation, at least yourself, before you can try to move others and articulate others your vision and what's best for them.
Yeah, good point. With momentum, and especially this first question, can you lie and bully a man into doing what's good for him? When has that ever worked? Right? Like if you want to influence a person or a group of people to movement, you could initially probably sucker them in with a lie, and we've seen that far too often within the world, I'm sure. But when has bullying or lying someone into something that's good for him authentically proven to sustain momentum over the long term? I think it has a 0% track record. And so that definitely checks out. And even thinking about what we do in F3, like when you're leading a queue, right? Like I know that, like when I'm leading, like, hey, we have a plan. We're going to move from point A to point B. But if I lie and try and bully guys to getting to that point, like I'm missing the whole point of why we're going there in the first place. Number two, and this is not a loaded question at all. What is the biggest obstacle to movement? The biggest obstacle to movement.
Generally yourself.
Yeah, stubbornness.
Wow. Yes. Okay. So why yourself? Why do you say that?
Well, I think it's similar to what I was talking about with IronPAX, where instead of recognizing that my fitness was not where it needed to be last year, I shifted the blame onto the IPC itself. Right? I didn't take ownership of it. I allowed what was actually my own fault to take a kind of back seat to like blaming others, and I think that my own ego and my own self-doubt kept me from being the best version of myself when I was talking about IPC last year. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very easy to take the less challenging road, to just say, I can start later, or, oh, I could do it if it weren't for this, or, oh, it's unfair, or something like that. So basically, and pardon my language, but it's basically getting past your own bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting past lying to yourself, basically, and finding excuses as to, oh, this is not going to work because this, that, or the other, or if only things were different. I can very much relate to that, because I've had moments in my life that was like, oh, if only I was not doing this, I'd be studying more. If only I didn't have to do this, I'd be doing that more. And then that roadblock disappears and you still don't move forward. So it's not the roadblock that's the problem. It's you.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are situations where there is a true roadblock that is preventing you, but a lot of the times it's just you finding an excuse.
The least common denominator in every issue I've ever had has been me. And yet it's really easy to try and point that finger. So that's really good. And then really when I think about the initiation of first movement, one of the biggest obstacles, I 100% on board with you both and agree with you both. It is definitely me most of the time. But I think from a 90,000 foot view, if we look at not just F3, but people in general, I think I've seen more of, well, someone's going to do it, so I don't have to lead, or I mean, surely someone is going to eventually step up and XYZ do this or say that, and then sometimes it does happen that way, but sometimes it doesn't, and then that movement towards advantage for a group or a person or an individual is not happening. So that's a big thing for me too, because I can agree that someone is probably going to do something and take initiative and still not take initiative myself, when in reality, like, I should just do it. Like, I should just take initiative, because maybe other people are waiting on me to take initiative.
Oh, absolutely.
So I thought that kind of popped up in my head, when I was thinking about this, and just how we're moving throughout the year, and just initiation, the process of initiating things.
I think that's where one of the strengths of F3 come in, because the way the leadership is set up, almost everyone in F3 is empowered to do something. So if you see an opportunity for improvement, you can go ahead and do it. You can go ahead and try it. You can go ahead and implement it, and then bring it to your AO or then to your region and say, hey, we've done this cool thing, so maybe you could do it too. We have a whole podcast about it called Stuff We're Trying. So
yes,
my guys might want to check that out.
You should check it out. It's really good stuff. They put a lot of great content out from the nation about Stuff We're Trying. We were actually on there talking a little bit about some F3 Knoxville stuff we did earlier this year. So
exactly,
very, very cool. Very, very cool. Hey, we're going to put this in the show notes too, so you can read this whole article. You can listen actually to some audio from F3 Nation that talks about this too. Because don't just take our word for it, folks. But like we say in F3 Knoxville, we are not professionals, but we are constantly working to grow and invigorate our leadership individually, but also collectively as a team and as F3 Knoxville. And so we just want to invite you into that as well. But we'll post this in the show notes, and let us know your thoughts. You can actually comment with the takeaway you had on Spotify, if you listen to this on Spotify, or on Slack in your AO channels and your Shield locks. Let us know what you think, man. We'd love to hear from you. So, well, Blindside had to drop. Such is the life of a high school principal. It is late for a school night.
Yep.
And
a high school principal with 5 kids at home at that. So
that's true. Kids all day.
Yep.
Shout out to all the dads out there. Man, we're so glad you stopped by. Thanks for listening to this week's Weekly Launch Point. We got a great week ahead of you. Make those HCs. Get out there. Push yourself. Push the guys around you, whether you're doing IronPAX or not. Just get out there and get 1% better this week. OnStar,
Yep.
Any closing thoughts?
Just to echo what you said, go out there, get 1% better. We still have AOs doing the metric workout this week. We have AOs starting the IronPAX, so there's plenty of opportunities to push yourself up there. There's rucking, there's boot camps, there's heavy workouts, there's running. So there is something out there for you. Go do it. Go enjoy it. Go get better.
That's right. Hi. Wherever this podcast finds you, hope you have a great week. Iron Sharpens Iron.
See you in the gloom.